Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to show you how to make recording your videos quicker whilst also reducing your editing time and improving your presence on camera. Sound good? Well, the key is to use a teleprompter. In some countries it's called an autocue. TV presenters use teleprompters to engage their audience by maintaining natural eye contact. Because they don't have to keep looking down at their written notes, their presentation appears natural and spontaneous, not at all like they're reading from a script. This level of professionalism is what you should aspire to in your video course, so I recommend you use a teleprompter too. A teleprompter is a device that uses special glass that's reflective on one side and see-through on the other. The glass is set at a 45-degree angle with the script under the glass and the camera behind the glass. Because the glass is see-through on one side, it's invisible to the camera but will reflect the script to you for reading. It's a clever concept, and one which used to be limited to media professionals. But in recent years, a variety of devices have become available to the mass market, which do the job well and are both affordable and simple to use. For this video course, I'm using the Glide Gear TMP 100, which cost £160. That's around $200 US. There are cheaper models out there, but I went for this one because of the high quality glass and compatibility with a range of smartphone and tablet devices. For my professional work, I shoot with a Sony mirrorless camera, which can be used with this, so it's a really flexible piece of kit. It also doesn't require assembly and comes with a carry case, perfect for when I'm out and about. If this is beyond your budget though, don't worry, I'll be suggesting a free alternative later in the video. To get it set up, you'll need a tripod. I'm using a newer aluminium alloy video tripod. It's incredibly strong and sturdy, perfect for shooting both indoors and outdoors. This comes in at just under £100 on Amazon, which is a great deal for premium quality. A lightweight alternative is the aluminium tripod by Manfrotto, which is sturdy and flexible, whilst also offering good value for money at just £69. If you're doing all of your talking head shots inside, then the cheaper option is fine. But if you're planning on filming outdoors, I would recommend going for something a little sturdier and heavier, like the newer, to avoid being moved in the wind. To connect the teleprompter, remove the plate from the tripod and screw it to the plate of the teleprompter, with the tripod plate facing forwards, as you want the teleprompter to face forwards when connected to the tripod. Next, we pull out these side pegs and rotate the glass to 45 degrees, then tighten the screws to secure it in place. Then attach the Glide Gear hood to the glass using the provided Velcro and zips. Now, I mentioned earlier in the course that I'm filming the whole thing using an iPhone to prove to you that you really can get great results. So I'm going to attach my iPhone to the back plate of the teleprompter. For this, the Glide comes with a handy attachment which grips a smartphone and screws into the back plate. Try to attach it as far forwards as possible so the lens doesn't pick up any of the surround of the Glide device. Once the phone is in place, pull the hood over to prevent any light getting in. Then we attach an iPad or iPhone which displays our script to the front plate. I recommend you use an iPad for this so you can have the text nice and large, making it easy to read. But do experiment with different devices to see which works best for you. The Glide Gear supports tablets up to 10 by 8 inches, so the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is too large to fit in the grip. However, I found that simply resting the iPad Pro on top of the grip works fine, but please be careful when doing this as the device will not be secured properly. And that's everything you need to do to get set up. Now we're ready to begin recording, but before you do, here are some top tips for using a teleprompter. Get a teleprompter app. You'll need to install a teleprompter app on the iPhone or iPad you're reading from. For this course, I'm using the Prompt Plus app because it's simple to use and has lots of options for controlling the scrolling script with remote controls. It's also free to use for shorter scripts, so you can test it out fully and only commit to purchase if you need longer scripts. This brings me on to my next tip. Use a remote control. If you're presenting from a desk like I am, you don't want to be constantly jumping up and down to adjust the teleprompter. A remote control is really handy for starting and pausing the scrolling script remotely. All sorts of remotes will work with the app, from handheld presentation clickers to wireless keyboards, foot pedals, and even Xbox or PlayStation controllers. If you have a spare iOS device, that will be the best option as it gives you maximum flexibility. This is one of the reasons why I particularly like the Prompt Plus app, because I can control everything from here, leaving the iPad in place in the teleprompter device. My third tip is to go slow. You're reading, so the temptation is to read at your usual pace. But remember, this is a presentation. Go a little slower than you would normally read, and add pauses to make it sound more natural and give the audience time to think. The tips in my last video are particularly relevant here, so review that lesson again before recording. Next, remember to blink, glance away, and look natural. There is a natural temptation when reading from a teleprompter never to blink. You're concentrating so hard on reading the words that you simply stare into the lens. This won't be comfortable for your audience to watch, so try to consciously add some natural mannerisms such as blinking and looking away. The more you practice this, the less you will need to think about it. You should also review your videos to see if your eye movements reveal that you're reading. As I'm sitting close to the camera, I reduce the width of the text in Prompt Plus to make my eye movements less noticeable. Then you need to practice. Reading from a teleprompter is a skill that you are unlikely to perfect first time, so factor in some time for retakes. As you get more experience using a teleprompter, you will become more efficient, need fewer retakes, and your presentation style will become more natural and engaging. Lastly, have fun. When you read from a teleprompter, you will immediately feel like a news presenter. Enjoy the experience and play the part. Think of your favorite news presenters or YouTubers. How do they sit? Do they smile? What facial expressions do they use? Watch and imitate them. You will naturally develop your own style, but studying the professionals will help you up your game. Okay, that's it for this video. But don't worry, I know I mentioned that I would show you how you can reap some of these benefits for free. Download an app called Teleprompter for Video, which is a teleprompter and a video recording app combined. The script is positioned next to the camera and scrolls down the screen as you record the video. It's really simple to use, and it will reduce the time it takes to create professional looking videos. As with Prompt Plus, Teleprompter for Video is free to use with short scripts, but if you need to record longer scripts, there is a one-off upgrade you can purchase. So that's it for this lesson. I hope you found it useful, and I look forward to seeing you next time.